Hi, this is Scott Rogers, work from home dad and provider of hope. Let's talk about something that there's a lot of heat with this, there's a lot of controversy, but job security, depending upon the boss, depending upon your employer, a company, things like that, a lot of people laugh at that and say, hey, job security, what's that? That was a generation or two ago. And the economy states the fact that, you cannot depend upon a job or somebody else. The only person you can depend upon is yourself. Okay, so a lot of things happen in this economy, and if your boss wakes up on the wrong side of bed, he could decide to let certain divisions go, to outsource certain things, to lay off different people in the organization, to, right size, downsize, whatever. You know what I mean? And it can happen at the drop of a hat, and it does happen all the time. And people are so into their jobs and just thinking, hey, I got this job, I'm just going to do this and show up. And they don't have any other plans besides working at their company or their job or their career that they're doing. They don't have any extra plans outside of that. They're totally dependent upon that employer, upon that job, upon that company for their family's financial security and freedom and independence. And that's not really freedom and independence. That's, some would call modern day slavery. Basically, you're at the whim of somebody else. If somebody decides to do something, it's going to affect you directly every single time. You don't have any control over what happens to you at your job. I mean, doesn't that kind of rack your nerves a little bit to understand that if you're only dependent upon the job and that's your only source of income, that you're totally putting yourself and your family's financial future in the hands of somebody who could, at the drop of a hat, do something to completely change how much money you're making right now. And the only recourse you have is yourself. The good news is, the good news, I don't want to scare you and freak you out. The good news is you have a choice. Let's just say you have a job right now and you understand what I'm talking about and you don't want to be dependent upon that. Well, you have a choice. You can right now start something on the side to where you're actually building that up to where one day it increases and it basically overtakes the income that you're making full time right now, where you're making more money in what you're doing on the side than what you're doing full time, which is an absolute possibility. You can absolutely do that. I mean, I'm working from home full time right now where my income is increasing month after month after month. But it'll just take a little bit of time to get something going. But you've got to make a decision that you're not going to be dependent upon somebody else, but you're going to be dependent upon yourself to actually take the ball and run with it and, take care of your family and do the things that sometimes you may not think about that are necessary to actually get the job done. I mean, I had experience not that long ago when I was in the working corporate workplace, and there's a sales guy, one of the top sales guys, did something really stupid and tried to steal a lot of stuff from the company, and the company owner fired him on the spot. But then a week later, he called me up on a Friday and said, hey, Scott, I'm sorry. You know what? It's nothing to do with your job performance, but we just lost our top sales guys. I have no idea how much money we're going to be making over the next several months, and I cannot afford to pay you. I just, we have to cut down the budget and all that kind of stuff. And that was it. Okay, and I learned my lesson, and I don't depend upon anybody else for my financial security or independence, and neither should you. So I started making plans to do things outside of the workplace, and now I work from home completely, full-time, and able to make a full-time income doing that. And you can do the same thing too. So you can depend upon yourself because if you can go get it done, if you can show up to your regular job, you can also show up and do other things in the meantime that can build up over time, so you can actually not have to worry about what happens if your boss lets you go, or if your whole organization gets downsized or outsourced to another country or whatever. It doesn't bother you a bit because you've developed skill sets, you develop knowledge, you develop a system, a business from home where you're actually making more money than what you're making at your job anyway. And it's because of your efforts, not because somebody else decided to do something. And if you're serious about that, want to start something like that, then I invite you to scroll right below this video here. You're going to find my website link. It's called getmoredetailshere.com. And I'll show you some more revealing information to help you get that done right away. We'll see you at the top. Take care.